This Monday, me and Adam Argyle from Google did some intrinsic web design, and I had the opportunity to finally use CSS Grid properly for the first time, and it was a revelation how good it was. Also, Adam is a super energetic person that was just such a pleasure to stream with, and I just enjoyed myself so much, and I hope that you will too. Before I cut to the recording of this Monday's live stream, I would like to thank today's sponsor! Codeworks is the leading JavaScript bootcamp in Europe. Codeworks offers a 3-month immersive program to learn coding and become a full-stack software engineer. Immersive here is not just some marketing word that they throw around, it's really full-time, full-blown. You start at 8 a.m. every morning with breakfast and you end at 9 p.m. And this goes on for 3 months, Monday through Saturday. It truly is a bootcamp. It's not for the faint of heart, but it is what you need to do in order to become a useful developer in just 3 months. As a result of this, Codeworks has a really good hiring rate. 100% of Codeworks graduates that look for a job will get one within 6 months. Codeworks has really great reviews on both SwitchUp and Course Report. Do check them out there. So if you're thinking about doing the big leap and becoming a professional developer, pushing through 3 months, really making the investment into that and getting a job, then Codeworks is a really good bet. Check them out after the show. Details are in the episode description. There's also a discount code there that gives you 200 euros off the tuition fee if you use it when you apply. Codeworks, thank you so much for supporting the show. Now on to the recording of this Monday's Twitch livestream. Intrinsic web design. That was a new term for me. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, Jen Simmons coined that. So she's Firefox DevRel, been building things on the web for many years, and she's kind of acknowledging that these tools have given us this new way to express layout, and it's almost like you could put like a hippie moo on and be like, I want to lay out the page and really listen to the elements. And this isn't her talking. This is me doing a really dramatic interpretation of like intrinsic. It's like, I want that image. Hey, image, how wide do you want to be? And the image says, well, I want to be 400 pixels wide. And then, me as the intrinsic web designer goes, cool. I'll make sure you have space for yourself, and I'll put a gap between anyone around you so that, you don't touch your friends, that your bubble is maintained, but you can still be you. Another thing is like titles. Like often we'll take a title from a CMS and we're like, guess what? It's got to be max 100 characters or else it breaks my layout. So we go into the CMS, we stick this limit on there, and now your marketing people are like, oh yeah, I'll just write this title and oh, my title doesn't fit because the front end individual doesn't think that they can handle this variable length of content.
Yeah.
And that's because you weren't listening to your content. Your content's like, but I want to be 130 characters long. And you're like, nah, I'm going to tell you. So this is
like basically the standard problem you always get with, like, once you launch your website in Germany and you get like these long titles.
It's literally your shirt. Your shirt is the manifestation of extrinsic layout. Yeah, you're like, all right, here's a box. Cool, I feel good about making boxes in CSS. And then you're like, I'm going to paste some text in there, and the text busts out. And you're like, well, that's what happens when you tell your text to fit into a box that it can't fit in. It has to bust out.
Okay. So in practice, what does that mean that we're going to do?
It means that we're going to try to use extrinsic values as little as possible. And extrinsic values are things like percentages and viewport units and pixel values. It's like any time that you say this column should be 400 pixels, you're deciding something before really knowing what's inside of it.
Okay.
And so we're going to reduce the amount of those extrinsic values that we create. We're going to kind of articulate more of a layout algorithm than we are like a 12-column grid. And so that's sort of like we're going to lean into
that's so good, like layout algorithm. We should have used that. That's such a very nice gimmicky term, I think.
Okay, let's say you're on the Jamstack, you're building a spa, whatever it is. Oh, spa, single page app. I say spa and pois and flaw, like a Flash app.
Oh, that's awesome. I say brb.
What?
Yeah, I like be right back. Brb.
Oh, burp. Yeah, I like making up words for those things. I think it's good.
Mm.
Like tilder, I don't say TLDR. I'm like, give me the tilder, and people are like, what? Oh, okay, tilder.
Tilder. I like it.
Okay, so chaos. Anytime things are coming from CMS, like you got variable length titles. Sometimes you don't have a description. Sometimes you don't have an image. And usually what we do is we go into our template language and we go if, and we build the resistance, we build the chaos resilience into the template itself, so that the template is like dynamically either putting something in or not.
Yeah.
And what we could do alternatively is if we lean into intrinsic web design, we can teach the layout that all these items are inside of, so your description, your title, your image, etc.
Yeah.
To have enough intelligence and to be smart in its own that you don't even have to put many if statements.
Who are you, Adam? Like, what is it that you do in life and work, and why are you here, and why do you know so much about CSS and stuffs?
It's a good question. I know a lot about CSS because the schooling I went to, I started in computer science. I studied PHP and Java, making Java applets, making server-side rendered PHP applications, using Access for a database. And then we eventually got to Flash. And I noticed that everything I turned in, I cared about how it looked. So it was like 99% of the other students in the class would be like, my applet does the math. And I'm like, yeah, my applet does the math too. But look, I put spaces between some of the characters because it reads easier. And they're like, whatever, dude. So anyway, I pretty much finished that degree and was like, I need to go do more design-related things. I need more presentation to your work because obviously it's something I care about that no one else really does. It's not as popular. Let me just go to a school where that's more popular. So I went to art school and I did a bachelor in web design and interactive media where I learned After Effects.
Ooh, I love After Effects. Like it's the most fun you can have with a computer. Seriously, everybody should. Yeah, everybody should learn After Effects.
I agree. There's like multiple levels of where After Effects brings me joy. So yeah, but After Effects, 3ds Max, Maya, game development, of course, web design, graphic design, print design, typography design. I sort of like went through all of these phases of design. And the coolest thing was, since I'd already done a bunch of stuff in computer science, I already had a job. So I got a job at like a local action sports DVD distribution company.
So good.
This is like 12 or 13 years ago, and they were like already dying. They're like, DVDs are so cool, and then it was like, no, they're not. Netflix is cool. And they couldn't keep up. They didn't digitalize fast enough. So anyway, I worked there for a long time. I got a lot of good experience, though. Switched to an agency after that. So while I was still in school, I was at an agency for like 3 years. Agency I joined was like 12 people. By the time I left, there were 60, and we built so many apps. And that's what we did. We built Flex apps at first. We used MVC frameworks like Robot Legs and stuff like that. And then we were building
Robot Legs, man. Like, it was such a long time ago. I also did that stuff. Like, Robot Legs was a sort of MVC-ish framework for ActionScript. Was it not for Flex?
Yep. I don't think it was for Flex. Flex had a component model which kind of made it more MVVM than it did MVC. Remember when the MV star and MVVM and MV all the MVs? Yeah. It's super funny. So I got a lot of experience working with pretty hardcore like application development folks so ActionScript 3 was a typed language, right?
Yeah.
What was cool though is like the views were XML-ish. What did they call it? It was MXML. And every time I look at all the CSS and JS stuff these days, even Angular, when Angular came out, I was like, this stuff kind of looks like Flex. Yeah. We've got this view model where we're putting a bunch of attributes in there. Sometimes it's a style, sometimes it's a behavior thing. Anyway, it's just like, it's been interesting to see the industry grow. I've pretty much been in agencies, design agencies, software agencies, big companies, consultancies even, and now I'm at Google, just building apps. And I've always loved the presentation tier. So I was front-end architect for a lot of the time. I was also a product lead for a while where I led design and development because I could kind of see both worlds and bridge them and help communicate And I came to Google as a UX engineer on Google Cloud, and joined the design systems team, which is huge. Managing the design system of Google Cloud is like $1 million activity. So in case you're like, I think I want a design system, you should be like, okay, how much money do you have? Because they're expensive. They do save you some time. But anyway, I was there for a year. I made this design tool called VisBug, and it got me chatting with some of the Chrome folks. And the Chrome folks were like, hey, we like you. Would you like to, join our team? And I was like, yeah. They were like, we could bring you on as a UX engineer on Chrome, or we've had this like open headcount for a CSS DevRel role for like months. And I was like, give me that one.
Ooh.
I was like, I've been waiting for someone to be more UI focused. Like, where's the person standing up on the stage going, I love CSS, instead of being up on the stage going, CSS sucks, holla. Right? Holla. I mean, everything sucks a little bit, right? Anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
All right.
And I do love it. I've studied it a lot. I have a huge passion for it. I've done some crazy shit with it. I've built like operating systems for Japanese companies. I've built
Phil Trem says CSS once makes me want to cut my veins.
Oh man, TypeScript makes me want to cut my veins. I don't know why you all do that all day.
It's always like the thing is like I think that I made a little bit of a career on making people love JavaScript. Like when I started out, everybody hated JavaScript so much. It was like so much hate, and I was like, nah, like there's so much to love about this little language. It has like a couple of weird quirks, but they are easily avoidable.
Yeah, you did a really good job. I loved that you stood up and had an opinion that was well supported, and it was clearly an opinion that was yours. But the thing for me is it resonated with me so hard because most other people were preaching other things, and you were very practical, and you were very much based in reality, where a lot of people are based in abstract land. They're like, I want to live in this fantasy programming world where everything is pure, and I'm like, that's no reality. I've sat down, we've tried to build pure applications. Do you know what you'll get? A piece of crap no one wants to use. The reality is that like the user is a monkey that's chaotic, and all they do is bring chaos to your application, and you're either like hacking your way around all this crazy shit they want to do, or you're not. You're trying to force them down this like rigid path because it was good for you and your abstract, pure mentality of how computer science should work. And so I love studying that stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's like super makes me feel intelligent and strong. I'm like, I'm like but then at the end of the day, like, there's no value delivered to my users through that.
I think it's like,
anyway,
it's like this, having like this value focus instead of how can I get to the goal, instead of like these abstract mental models, that's so productive. Okay, so
I see your live preview.
Yes.
I'll just beat myself. That's kind of fun. I'll just mute. Preview.
It's a preview.
Yeah, can I type in this jam here? Let's see. Nav. Do we have
like that's fun. Like somebody asked like, can I use CSS Grid? And Darko says, unless you work for a bank, you can use CSS Grid.
Hey, maybe even that bank is forcing everyone on Chrome. You never know these days.
That's true.
I definitely was, at the consultancy I was at, we did a lot of work with companies that had internal frameworks and stuff like that. It did get kind of hard. Okay, so let's see. We want to do a picture element in here, and inside of there we'll do an image tag. Hey, why did I pre-fill my image?
Goes like, just use tables for layout. Tables are the best, lel.
Hey, tables are fine. I'm so weird. I'm not very absolute with the way that I feel about things. I'm like, no, tables are great. You can use those sometimes, as long as no one sees the seams and you've done your work. Like, who cares? I find joy in Grid. It brings me much happiness. Okay, so we'll have a link. This will be, pound. I'll say home. Skip to the end. I got a new keyboard so that I could pop you up, and it's gonna make me do funky stuff.
I switch keyboards all the time, and like I'm constantly confused. I'm the worst typist, really.
I like it. I like watching you not type successfully because it humanizes you. You're like, MPJ, he's immortal, and then you watch him not type right, and you're like, no, he's just like me.
Oh, that's very good. Oh, that's very calming because I've been thinking about like getting better at typing because a lot of people write angry comments about it. But then again, angry comments is also very good because that increases like engagement on the video, which means that YouTube ranks it up.
Nice. Yeah, you're like frustrating people. They're like, he can't type, and but they wait and it's like, okay, my mind, my anxiety is pacified. He's corrected his typo.
Oh, Darko says he wrote a very angry email to the ones who provide the net banking system to my bank regarding the UI and the usability of it. I don't think they read it, but I felt better sending them that. It's so good. Just sending angry emails about the UI. Hi, I have a known idea asked, like, did you get the OBS JS controller working you were working on last time? No, I haven't yet, but I will. I need to, like, perhaps we could do that. Can we make this into, like, a scene selector?
Oh, you mean our grid layout?
Yeah, like, it's so instead of, like, home, like...
Hell yeah.
So, like, we're gonna populate this later with stuff, but, like, the scenes are gonna be, like... Stream starting soon, and left desk only. So that's a little bit more fun because it's like actual.
Well, this one's more like a grid, yeah.
So this is like the options where I'm switching between. So this is the break, and then it's by, which is like when closing off the stream, and and also remote coding there, so it's when two people are coding.
I like where this is going.
Yeah, so now we have some actual real case. See what this looks like now.
And you're going to be streaming video into these, right?
Yeah, so this is the thing is, like, just to give you an idea what it was, something that I built on stream last week. I have the streaming computer over there that controls like the scenes. So the problem is that I have to walk over to it and change, like when I want to change the scenes, I do this and I changing to this. Like it's a little bit annoying to have to walk over here.
And in OBS, it's that little link you have to click too, right? It's like tiny text, unless you stage the next one.
Yeah. I want to create like this web app that makes use of the OBS API so that I can remote it from this computer. And I also intend to like get like a production manager, like somebody like on the stream that can control the camera and control all things with the stream, because it's so many things to keep in mind with a stream, so it's good to have somebody help out. It would be cool if they could be switching scenes, or like just allow perhaps chat to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, awesome. So we don't really need a nav element anymore or a picture element. We could just sort of like, this should be full screen responsive presentation of streams that you can switch to, because basically what you're emulating is like a black magic board, right, where they've got like a whole bunch of little tiles and you just double tap one and it switches to that. Yeah, you're saving yourself a whole bunch of money building your own. I like this. That's a nice grid. In fact, we could make that responsive, and we can use it won't be as intrinsic, but we could still use repeat. So grid has a repeat concept, and we can have it flow nice, so that in case the browser grows or shrinks. Yeah,
because these titles can be like any. Could be.
Yeah, maybe we should use a figure then. So we'll go like figure, and with a fig caption, and the fig caption. Oh, come on, autocomplete that, fool of a toque.
Oh no.
I'll just copy that, I guess. Oh, see, this is so funny. There's so many new keys to remember. Oh man, all my alt and all my controls are all backwards. That's okay. Hey, there we go. And so then inside of here, you can write something like stream starting soon or whatever. Here, we'll bring that text in there. So we can have a bunch of figures, and in the figure, we'll have a video element. Or do you just want to have a placeholder with a name? Like, are you going to stream the video, or do you just want to click a big text block that's like, yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Sounds like a good V1. You don't have to have the video stream. You just need like a title that's all big, right?
Yeah. But
if that's what you need,
yeah.
Let's stick to the nav. In fact, the nav almost kind of makes sense, right? We could just because it is a nav, you're going to click these things and they'll take you to different places. Yeah. Anyway, video starting soon. Something like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's turn this into a grid. It's a full screen grid that takes over and makes blocks. We'll get to use some cool syntax like place items. Oh,
Ooh,
this is a
what's
good
place
question. Yeah, so
items?
place items is a single way to say center center. So you can say display grid, place items, center center. Done.
Oh, like the vertical and horizontal centering inside a box. The
Yeah,
mythical creature that like the web developers sought for 10 years plus. It's finally
Yep.
here.
It's finally here with some really succinct syntax. Yeah, it's super nice. I think place items also works with Flexbox because they sort of pivot the same properties.
Hey, like Darko says, like I may be able to provide some tools that can give you the scenes and sources automatically. Magic. Could you have a preview in the element? I don't think you can get a preview of them. Now, let's just do this with the menu items. It's great.
Cool. So where do we want to write styles? Should we just do it in a style tag up here somewhere?
Yeah, let's do that. Let me do it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, you do it.
Style. Awesome. So what do we do?
Dun, dun, dun.
Do we want to style the nav or
Yeah, start with the nav. So nav display grid.
display? Okay, and we can pick grid. Wow.
I like
It's now a grid.
putting like it's now a grid. It was that easy. Okay, we're done. So here,
so now
everyone.
look,
We'll see you later.
look. Now it's just a nice list here. That was fast.
Oh, wait, mine didn't upload. Let me refresh.
No, I think you have to
Update.
refresh. Like we don't have auto refresh on it, unfortunately. I should
Oh,
figure
I'm
out some
clicking
good
re-
way of doing that.
I'm in nav.html, right?
Oh no, my camera died. Let me.
Oh, it did. No signal. Hey, I like those red bars though. Let's rebuild that with Flexbox.
I think that.
Wait, I think I did one time actually. Here, check this out. I'm gonna go to CodePen.
Why did my camera die? That's weird. Will it go back on? Please go back on.
Please come back.
Please come back, camera.
Come back to me.
Hang on. Hang on. Let me check.
Yeah, no worries. I'm gonna find my my blank
my
screen
God.
CSS I made. What? Did it just come out?
Battery exhausted. Like the thing is, I think that my USB cable was a little bit plugged out, so it's been draining the battery. And due to
Yeah.
how the bugger works, it's wait, I'll fix this because I have
Huzzah.
another camera that might have a charged battery. Hang on.
I'll keep everyone entertained. Don't worry. I'll just start rapping about CSS. No, just kidding. I won't do that. I don't know any CSS raps too. Anyway, I do like nerdcore though, so that's weird.
Yes.
Here, maybe I'll just like attack some of this code too. Oh, wait, I gotta figure out why I can't see your whack list of links because I'm seeing a box. I guess here, if I change code on here, does it show up in this stream? That'd be sweet. Let's see, gap, one rem.
Work, you son of a bitch.
You was the
Yes!
son of a bitch.
Oh!
Hey!
God, like live streaming is like the
Nailed
most
it.
stressful work.
Nobody's watching. It's all good.
Yeah,
you know?
no.
So I added a gap, and I don't see it.
No, I see the gap.
Oh, there it is.
I see the gap.
There it is.
There's a gap.
Hey, my browser preview is just like not it's not reality.
Oh, maybe it takes a little bit while for your browser preview to sync. Like we are effectively doing like very much beta testing of people's software. Darko says, wait, you can just do gap? Is it the same as grid gap?
Yes, so gap is because gap is soon to not just be grid specific. Soon we're going to have gap with Flexbox. In fact, I think Firefox has it behind a flag or it's already working. Gap is this godsend property. It helps you from not writing the lobotomized owl. Have you seen that one from Hayden Works?
No.
He's got like a hack for it says select all my direct descendants that isn't the first child or something like that. He's got this. Anyway, there's a way to get a gap that's sort of ghetto. It's like a ghetto gap. That's probably not nice for me to say, but that's what it is. Here, I gotta log into. Oh, come on, that's my password. I'm just gonna deny you. I don't know what you want. So yeah, Gap is coming. Gap is coming to Flex, and yeah, you can ditch the whole grid part of it. And you can see in Chrome, it already picked it up. I'm super excited about Gap and Flexbox, but because sometimes that's the only reason to use Grid right now. I'm hoping we can touch on some of this throughout this video a little bit. Is like, when is Flexbox right and when is Grid right? But we'll get there. We'll see what we can hammer out in time.
Yeah, let's get this going.
I'd rather have fun.
Yeah. Okay, so what is rem?
Oh, rem. So this is a relative unit to the font size of the HTML root. So it's a root m. M being a contextual unit to the current font size. Rem being a contextual unit to the root font size of the HTML document.
Okay.
I find rems to be more predictable than m's, where an m can sort of change its context in different scenarios, and so it might surprise you, even though if you're in control, maybe it's not, and you love rem or m's. I use rems because they're just more predictable, as well as when you get to like mobile, you can change the font size on your HTML root and sort of just bump all the fonts and margins and spacing up on a mobile design, and it can be a kind of swift way to take care of some responsive spacing and typography. And I also like here's another picky dumb thing. I like that I can write 1 rem. I also like that I can do 1.2 rem. These units, to me, I generally use half a rem, 1 rem, 1.5 rem, 1.25 rem. It's like the rems that I use always make more sense than like 14 or 18 or 9 or 8 or something like that. And they feel, also I like the rem because it is respectful to the user's font size choice. So if the user's got, like if this is your grandpa or it's just someone with glasses or whatever that's visiting your website, and they've got the option on their browser or their operating system where they've got large text, by writing 1 rem, you respect the font size that they've passed into the browser, as opposed to like blowing it away if you were to like reset it.
I like this. Also, if you're if you're a streamer and you want to like make the thing big for your people watching.
For sure.
So
yeah, that's a rem.
Cool.
Well, what we're doing is we're building a pretty extrinsic grid, because what we want to do with this grid is we want to make boxes and put a title in them. And the content that's inside of it is less relevant as opposed to our presentation. And so grid is going to be very good at this extrinsic layout as well. Let's see, we have 6 items. Oh, there's so many fun ways to tackle this. We want to just kind of go the easiest, most straightforward way with some grid template columns.
Oh yeah, I love grid template columns. Oh, can I try to do this? Columns. It's like grid template. Is it columns though? Shouldn't we do rows since they're rows?
Right. This is where Flexbox and Grid, they compete for who wants to own what a row and a column is. We want columns in this case because we want them to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. So grid template columns. So 3. So like it's gonna be like. So I'm gonna do this the naive way here, but like you probably have a better way, but this is how I would like initially try to do it. So what happens if I do this? Just, where are we?
Yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah, that looks like that. Is it like, can I do thirds somehow?
Yeah, so there's a new unit called a fraction unit, and you can say 1FR space 1FR 1FR. So they'll equally through. Okay, do you remember Flexbox with its flex unit being like 1, 2, 3, and they were sort of contextually a ratio?
No.
Okay.
I never right. The thing is, like, I stopped, like, I never really used Flexbox because it wasn't a thing when it has been this interim thing where Flexbox was never ready when I did development.
Yeah, no worries. It has this concept of like flex 1 or flex 2, and really it is like this amount of strength of pushiness it has. And if everything has the same amount of pushy, then they are equal. So in this case, if you did 1FR, 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 you're saying these are equally taking up the fraction of this space. And really you could say 10FR, 10FR, or 50. You could also say 33FR, 33FR, 34FR. But at the end of the day, the the simplest way to write this is 1fr space 1fr 1fr, and that would be 3 equally spaced columns consuming the fraction of space that's there.
I think I can just copy paste what Phil Trim wrote.
Yeah, or write what Darko wrote, which would be the next version where we use repeat.
Oh, wait, hang on. I'll use his non-general version first, so that this is the same thing, and then Darko's suggestion is this. Hang on. Bloop.
Yep, super cool. Gotta love the repeat.
Cool. That is so cool. CSS is so not garbage anymore nowadays.
Dude, you don't even know. We're like, this is like you just got like a taste of like a strawberry Jolly Rancher, and you're in the beginning of a bucket of Easter candy.
Oh, that's so good. So if I repeat, like Phil says, like if I repeat 4, we would get something like this. That's so cool. Yep. I love it.
And look how elegant Grid just sort of takes the next items and puts them on the next row. So Grid template columns, it's so funny. The syntax, it took me a while. I had to type out a lot of grids before I was like, oh, what I'm really doing is I'm defining a template of columns, and it will just repeat the template if a new row happens. And that's really powerful. You're just saying, hey, do your best to keep 4 equally spaced columns in this. And so a difference that we see here in Flexbox would have taken those 2 remaining items and spread them across the bottom equally.
Oh, nice.
And Grid doesn't. Grid says, no, I've got 4 columns and I have 2 rows and 4 tracks, I'm just going to put them into each cell as I find them in the DOM. Super cool.
Love it.
So what we've got there is pretty self-explanatory. We're just repeating across the horizontal width. That's the 1fr. If we want these to also span the height, which I think we do, we're going to probably have to do a few things because the body. So let's make a body selector and do margin padding 0 and do min height of 100 VH. Because I already know that we're going to run into this problem.
Sorry, what were you saying?
So the problem is the height of the document is the height of the contents, so it's intrinsic.
Oh.
And in your case, you've only got 6 links. They're probably about 100 pixels tall. So it's like, well,
I'm gonna comment this out so that we'll see the problem, and then we'll add it.
Yeah. Let's feel it. Let's empathize with it. Yeah. So if we want to feel it, let's go back to our nav and do grid template rows and do. You can do this a few ways. You could do 50 VH, so 50% of the viewport height. And we'll also need our grid template columns. But
all
right.
Too. So we need a grid template rows. And what do we want here?
We could do a few different things. So you could write 50% space 50%. You could write 50 VH and 50 VH. And I think you could even do 1fr space 1fr, but that one is a little shakier.
Like
viewport height units. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a unit contextual to the viewport. Super sick. It's pretty much a percentage, but
what is the difference between this and a percentage?
Say what?
What is the difference between a VH and percentage?
It's a good question. The VH is very specifically the viewport height, whereas 50% could be contextually something else. So if we had a nested component and you did 50%, it would be 50% of its parent. So if we're a nav inside of the body and the body is the height of the HTML window, well, actually here, we could see this. Do 50% instead of VH, and then our rows probably won't lay out as we expect them to.
See. I'll do the change. So this is what we're looking at now in the browse preview is VH, and I'm changing it to 50%. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's like, okay, so it's relative to the viewport, but 50% is actually like taking like a look at the parent element.
Yep, and our body element is only as tall as our contents right now.
Yeah.
And so 50% of it is not very exciting. So this is where we could go in and say body min height equals 100 VH, and our and then the 50% would work better. Or we could just tell these rows specifically and extrinsically, no, we want 2 rows that are each half of the viewport height, and then it will spread them out as it can.
Yeah, I like this. Also, I have no idea. Points out that we can now do repeat here as well.
Yes, we can.
Boom. Meaningless refactoring. Yay.
Yeah, and I like starting with the simple, straightforward way, and then building on top of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think those are
yeah,
nice.
I love that.
Yep.
Create duplication before removing it. It's my creed.
So we have, let's see, let's go back to repeat 3 of the 1FR, because if we have 6 links, we're going to have, we just want to take up all that space.
All right, cool. There we go.
I mean, then there's like, there's so many ways to Benihana this layout. It's really, I'm sure everyone watching is going, oh, you could use grid template areas. Oh, you could do this. Or you could make one of the cells really big, so then maybe there's like 2 of your, that you like to switch to more often than the rest, and we can make those large, and then the other one's small in between. And they're not wrong. We could do all those things. But let's start with the basics, which is kind of like what you'd get with Black Magic, which is equally sized tiles for you to double click and acknowledge. Okay, so then, underneath our grid template rows, type place items center.
Place items center.
Place
center.
dash items, yeah.
Whoa. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh
I'll
my
see you later,
no,
my
can we
work
just
is done.
please revel in this moment? This is moon landing level.
Give one of your anchors a background color. Do nav. Here. Let's see. We're not in post CSS land, so you don't have spec style. That's cool. Yeah. Do nav dash or nav direct descendant anchor, and let's give those little dudes a background color and call it good.
How do we do it? Where?
We'll just do it underneath our tag here. We'll do like this.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll do background color. This is. Oh wait, I'll destroy people's eyes. Chartreuse. Bleh.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
This is I like that you chose that. I also like what we got. We got an intrinsic result. Does that make sense? What we're seeing is an intrinsic result and not an extrinsic one.
Yeah, sure. We didn't we didn't have to fiddle around with widths for these. They are just right now expanding.
They're shrink wrapped. Yeah. So shrink wrapped is the result of usually when you're treating something intrinsically, and it's shrink wrapped because you're saying you're the width and height of yourself. But in this case, I assume what we wanted with the chartreuse was to have a background color of the whole cell, not the element in the cell. So this is where grid is creating tracks and it's creating space, and it's not forcing the elements to expand into it. It's just placing it and saying, no, I want to listen to your heart and your soul, and I want you to tell me what's your width. And anyway, it says, well, cool, I'll just put you center based on your own sizing. So this is a good chaos example where if you went in, actually here, I'll just do some chaos. Yeah. It says BRB, I'm going to be like, chaos. Yeah, see?
And I'll refresh.
And what we'll see is, we'll see that everything is still centered. It doesn't know. Yeah, thank you.
Good. That's so good.
Right?
That's so good.
Any extra work. We're leaning on CSS to be the hardworking mamma jamma here. But, okay, so place items, let's break that. Let's destructure that really quick because why did we get an intrinsic result with our shorthand? And the reason is place items expands into align items and justify content. And align items center and justify content center are both things that are only alignment specific. They're not saying stretch or expand. They're just saying like an auto layout mechanism. They're just saying, no, just be in the center. I don't care what size you are. I'm going to make sure you're always in the center. So there's other ways that we could get things to be in the center but be expanded, which might be more desirable.
All right.
So anyway.
Just saying,
what do you want to do?
We have 20 minutes left.
Oh snap!
I just decided that right now because I just realized I have no idea where we're going with this. I'm just going to decide that.
Me neither.
20 minutes left.
Hey, it looks like place items was good enough. Everyone's mind is blown. They're like, whoa, and gap, that you can use gap and flex soon. That you don't have to say grid dash gap. Right, and we don't have any post CSS plugins or anything. That shit's just straight out the box. Gap and place items those are set for Flexbox as well. Okay, so let's see. What do we want to do now?
Phil asked if this is supported in Flexbox as well. Is it? Was that what that was you said?
Yeah, place items is supported with Flexbox, and Grid is going to be Flexbox supported or not Grid. Gap is Flexbox supported as well. That's the one I'm most excited for. I used the crap out of Gap. Oh, that was just fun to say. Anyway, and I'm excited for it to be in Flexbox too. I should link the lobotomized owl really quick too. Well, maybe not. Who cares?
Danachu says, I backburned learning Grid. I think that's gonna change now. Yes, like this is amazing.
Oh man, we've barely scratched the surface here. It's seriously the most fun and coolest thing I've used in a long time.
All right, but let's show them something other cool thing.
Another cool thing. So like another good example is stacking things. So when you have, usually you would absolute position those, and we could get away with stacking things. See, this is, I feel like we're just squeezing things in. I mean like z-index stacking, where you have something underneath another thing. And with place, not with place items, but with grid template areas and specifying which cell you want something to be in. So again, just like we have grid template columns and grid template rows, all those do is create tracks and then go through each element in its container and put it one by one in the space.
Would a good example here be like if these had like a background image that was the preview of each scene?
It might be best if we had like a label, something that would typically float over top of content.
Yeah, but that's
maybe
what
it says
I mean.
the live
like imagine like a preview.
A live indicator.
Yeah, live indicator is great.
Yeah, let's do that. So here, if we were to do a live indicator, we would pop down here, and it would just be in the nav container, and let's make it a label. And oh man, why is it not completing my code very much? Whatever, label, tab. Oh, come on. So here we got a label, and we'll say live. And so what we want to do with this one is, since it's named, we can give it and tell it specifically where it needs to be in the layout here. So if we did something like, so we have a direct descendant anchor selector, we can say nav, find the label, and the label should be on the grid column. See, I can't type either. 2 and grid row 2. And hopefully what that gives us is a live indicator. At least the text live should be over top of the bottom middle.
We have it down here, like in the bottoms. Wait, hang on. We have an issue, and this is not visible on stream yet. I need to.
Ooh, what happened?
No, it's just like my window is a little bit too small. There we go. Now people will see it. So it's down.
Okay, so if we save that, does that refresh and put the live indicator?
Let's see. Yeah, live is now its own item.
But I was hoping it would be specifically over. Oh, look. Okay, so this is part of the war that happens. Okay, this is another good moment here. Is as soon as you start to be specific about where things go in Grid, you start to go down this path that snowballs a little bit. So what we see here is we said, okay, this label, I want it to be in grid column 2 and grid row 2. And it goes, cool, I'll put it there. Yeah. And then it goes into the next item and it starts to lay them out accordingly. But what we wanted was a stack.
Oh.
And in order to get that stack, we might have to go, did I miss a semicolon here? I did. In order to get a stack, we're going to have to tell all of them where to be, which in your case is not really a big issue. So let's see, what's the best way to do this? Because if we've already placed one, which means we probably have to place them all. Unless we go be particular about grid template columns, we could go grid template areas. Then we'd have to place each of them. What is the best way to solve this? So what I'm tossing around here is as soon as we took one and put it in a cell, auto layout happened. And if we take the one that we wanted and put it in that cell as well, here, let's just try that. Let's just get hacky and just execute an idea. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the nav anchor that is the nth child, probably 4, I think is what we want. And I'm going to say the same. Oh, here, I'm just going to piggyback on this selector. I'll grab this, Command C. The bummer is I don't think this is going to scale if we were to, build something dynamic that put the live indicator on there, but maybe it would. Okay, I saved that, and I'm curious if that gives us what we want or if my nth child selector is off. I'm hoping that it gives us our stack that we're desiring, because I'm selecting the label and the fourth element, and I'm saying these both need to be consuming the same cell. So hopefully I'm creating a stack.
Exactly. Now it's stacking.
It is. Sweet. It's always fun blind CSSing.
So what are we looking at here? It's selecting. It's forcing both the fourth child of the nav and the label to be in the same column. And if you didn't do that, these two would fight for this position, and one would win and push the other one away.
Yep, and since we're putting them both in the same spot, they don't compete. There's really good points showing up in the feed here. So we could use a pseudo element to use this live indicator, at which point we wouldn't need to deal with stacking contexts or like competing items trying to take up cells. And the other one here is funny is, as you can see, CSS is so great. Yeah, those are always funny when I'm like, yeah, let me see you write JavaScript, like it's somehow magically impervious to flaws.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's just like everyone loves CSS as a punching bag, which I guess you need a punching bag, so punch it if you want, but I can punch JavaScript just as much, and I love them both. They're punchable. Yeah,
and also we're not done here to the elegant point either. I have no idea asks. I have no idea. Oh, I get the name now. That's very clever. I have no idea asks, would you be able to fill in the nth child element with the dynamic value? Like, I'm not sure. Do you understand the question?
I do, yeah. So it's kind of like curious if the number 4 there could be a custom property or something. And that's like, I think that's what he's asking. And in my assumption is if I had a JavaScript framework which was watching for live streams to be changing, because I would need to connect to a socket of some kind, right? The socket's going to tell me which one's active, or I'm deciding which one's active, rather. The one that was double-clicked on, I would already have a reference to that node in my event handler. I could just avoid writing CSS to do this at this declarative level and write some inline styles. Almost like give the label a new class or give the label a specific cell and column to go on. Also, I think this pseudo element might be a better long-term investment, but it's kind of fun right now to just learn that Grid can create these stacking contexts. Because what's interesting about these stacking contexts is they're still in flow. Is they might be on top of each other, but you don't have the baggage of what usually happens with like absolute position, where everything sort of becomes out of flow, and then you have to go write a bunch of CSS to kind of simulate it being kind of back in flow, and you're in this weird hybrid state. Anyway, that was a good rant.
Very good rant.
Oh my god!
Oh god!
Oh, look at us. We're just like attractive.
Completely synced.
Everyone's ears are bleeding now. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, like Clark IO is like, he has like this like cough button on his stream deck to mute the button. I should really get that.
That's funny.
What was I saying? Yeah, so I can. This is pretty elegant actually, because it doesn't look elegant, but it's like I know how messy I would have had to do this with a div and like floating it behind without absolute positioning and stuff.
This is like where if we were to really show how this particular pattern can be really powerful, it would be that sliding app drawer demo where CSS handles entirely on a small screen. It will take those two cells, stack them with Grid, and then when you have enough space, you can unstack them.
Yeah.
And then basically the item that was in the center that's getting the app drawer panel on top of it has no idea and never cares whether or not there's an app panel showing or not. So it's this really healthy relationship between these two things where CSS is saying, I have knowledge of the viewport. You shouldn't care, panel and main column. I'll care for you and I'll make sure that you're arranged nice. So anyway, I feel like if we were to do this again, making an app drawer would be a really sweet example to show. Yeah.
Do we have 9 minutes left or so? Like, can we show something else fun?
Yeah, here, I just want to share one of my favorite patterns for grid, and we can just put it on there really quick. I'm just going to even Google it really quick because I can never remember it exactly. Dave Rupert has it because it uses repeat and auto fit, which is super cool. So let's see, repeat, auto fit. I think it's auto fit anyway. It's just this really, really handy grid declaration that I use all the time. Yeah, here we go. I'm just going to link to this article here. Dave Rupert, thanks for posting this on your
you can
blog.
just paste it. Like I open a new browser preview, you can just paste it in that one.
My browser preview is looking at code.visualstudio.com. I don't know
I'll
what
open it in mine.
Cool, and the declaration is there if you just kind of scroll down a little bit. It's this repeat autofill min-max 11M and 1FR. Let's destructure that because that shit is powerful as crap, and I want to let's demo it.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna copy this thing here.
Yeah.
Whoops. Hang on, I didn't.
Oh man, we didn't even get to the difference with like grid auto comment. Grid is jam packed with like superpowers. So it's kind of fun. We at least got to show you a couple.
Hang on,
it looks like my browser preview might try to like update with what you're seeing.
Yeah, like, go on, damn it. Hang on. What is happening?
My code editor isn't showing any of your changes either. Our socket might be slow.
I was trying to type a password because he wanted like access to something. All right, let's see if I can. What? I cannot copy from the browser preview window?
Oh, is that what the deal is?
Yeah, like I don't. That's an important feature that should be working.
Here, let's do. I'll paste this bad chicken like that. Bam.
Paste it in.
How'd that do?
How'd that do? I don't get it. It's not here. Oh, now it's there. Now it's there. Now, what is happening?
Cool. Let's break down what this means. Yeah. Okay. So, and then do we have shit to lay out with it? I think we do, right? So, what's it doing to all your links?
All right. Let's see here. Let's see where we're at.
11M. 11M. What does that mean?
What the hell? All right. What is it?
Okay. So the power of this becomes manifested as you resize your browser. So grab that little width window there and squeeze and expand it. It looks like it hasn't updated yet.
No, let's see. Okay, now.
Oh, I just touched my beard for the first time, which, by the way, you haven't been twisting your beard very much. I guess we've just been talking so much.
We're very talkative persons.
Usually I like rip hairs out of my stupid beard because I'm a moron. I sit here and find the outliers and I'm like, you little bastard, I'm going to get you. Anyway,
okay.
We haven't done that yet.
So
I thought
what
for sure we would.
like, is this what you were going for?
Yeah, okay, so expand it and contract it a little bit because it's really interesting. So let's just break it down what it's saying. Like, I'll say what this grid is in English because did you see how it reflowed there and everything's fine?
Yeah.
You got that for free, right? No media queries. Pull it out even longer and watch it continually fill in with available space. It's this here. Change 11M. Let's change this to min content. Here, you type it because min content is an intrinsic keyword and it's super dope.
So like min content, like
min dash content instead of 11M.
Whoa.
So what this grid is saying, I want columns and repeat autofill forever. So autofill says if there's space for this item, place it. There's auto fit and there's autofill. Those are worth going and looking up the actual definitions of and how they're a little bit different.
Yeah.
But for now, it's not going to change very much about what we're looking at. And then min-max is another keyword that's super sick in grid. And this lets you get rid of a lot of media queries. And in my opinion, this lets you get rid of a lot of your desire for container queries. Wink, wink, whoever was asking that earlier. Because min-max lets you say, as the parent container, never let this component or never let this cell, or any of these cells in this case, be larger than the min content and never let it be smaller than 1FR. Or it's minimum of min content, so never shrink beyond. So this is what's cool about min-max. If you're saying min-max, parentheses, min content, you're saying never shrink smaller than myself. ever.
Wait, can we
Which is kinda
demonstrate?
cool.
Can we demonstrate that?
Yeah, if you've got min content there and we've got that long, nasty thing I wrote in there, try squeezing that small.
So, all right, I'm squeezing that. Yeah, so this is what it looks like now.
I'm waiting for it to update so I
Right.
can see it. That's not exactly what I expected. Because min content, oh wait, min content is, okay, no, min content is right. So min content is the length of your longest word. Switch it to max content.
All right.
So this is what's interesting about intrinsic and text, is the width and height is per word, or if you say max content, that's going to be like the length of your line.
All right. So, but there's not a particularly long word here yet.
Oh, right, there was just the gibberish.
So like I'll do change this to be a long word. Does that change it? Nah.
I can't see your code yet, is it?
There.
Updated? I'm just going to close that and reopen this because I can like see little text up there. I want to make sure I'm looking at the same code. Yeah, my session's out of date with yours.
No. Shall I just reshare it perhaps?
I don't know. I'm trying to read what you got there. Okay. So one of the fun things that I was hoping we could see here, and maybe it's in combination with autofill, and I don't even think I finished the original thought, but min content is, yeah, it's like your smallest word and max content being your longest word. Either that or max content. Max content might be the length of your line, if you're a whole line of text. Anyway, you have these two keywords now that can help you be really powerful about making respectful space for the content that's in there, and having additional powers like how does white space break and stuff like that you can control these things. But without getting too in the weeds about min content and max content, this repeat is just super handy because what we've said here is for any number of children that are inside this container, they should at least be the width of themselves and a max width of 1 FR. And so that gives you this grid that will be intrinsic and responsive all the way up to a humongous screen and all the way back down to a little screen because you've set some healthy ways for this content to be laid out.
So nice.
And that's like one of that definition right there is one of those things I use all the time, especially if you have a grid that you want to flow onto new lines. This is like you just kind of go grab for this one. It's an easy win. Because on mobile there'll be a single column all full width. That's the 1 FR. So at the if there's not enough space for just me, then I should be the max width. Anyways, super cool. How much time do we have? I feel like
1 minute.
Oh, dude, we scratched the surface. I'm glad we got a few of those things in there. I'm happy.
I'm super happy.
We didn't fail.
I think we showed a lot of things. I'm super excited about using this to lay out my Twitch stuff. This is so good, and I think I like that place items thing. I think blew at least my mind, and I know several people in chat as well. Like that was so good. I think that's very simple. We're gonna close this off here. Thank you.
Yeah. I loved it. That was super fun, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming, Adam. You can follow Adam on on Argyle Inc. on Twitters to follow him on his shenanigans, and I'm pretty sure that we will see a Twitch channel or YouTube channel from you very soon.
Yep, more CSS. And I have some CSS guides coming out that'll all be about intrinsic design. It's like an 8-part guide that takes you from not knowing what intrinsic layout is to knowing what advanced intrinsic is. And it's super based in reality, which is, I think, something that's interesting. And so, yeah, follow me on Twitter. Stay tuned for tons of UI building. This stuff gets me so excited, and I just want to make you look powerful.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out our sponsor CodeWorks, the leading JavaScript bootcamp in Europe. You can check out the details in the episode description below. There's also a coupon code which gives you 200 euros off, so make sure you use that when you apply. If you like this show, you can check out all the episodes here in this playlist, or you can watch the recording being done live at twitch.tv/funfunfunction. We record these every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time. Until next Monday morning, stay curious.